Hello and welcome back to the channel. Hope you are doing well. In today's video, I will be discussing my thoughts on Jesse Lingard, seeing as he scored a goal against Leicester to get us third, and seeing as he scored a goal against Lask to clutch up and get us into the semi-final. I mean, we were going to get into the, not semi-final, quarter-final, but we were going to get into the quarter-final anyways, with or without Lingard's dry performance last evening. So yeah, hit that like button if you are interested, and do not be afraid in the comments down below to let me know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe if you are new. But let's get into it. First of all I want to say is that game against Lask was dry, it was dull, it was boring, and I think it exposed our massive problem in squad depth. I know there were people out there like, Marcus, Jesse Lingard played well. So did Pereira. Pereira looks like a Brazilian for once. He actually dribbled past 3 or 4 players. It's Lask, guys, second. Jesse Lingard should, and I can't emphasize this enough, Jesse Lingard should be playing well against teams like Lask. Andres Pereira should be playing well against teams like Lask. Like, the fact that some of these players, the likes of Timothy Fosu-Mensah, the likes of Brandon Williams, the likes of Fred, the likes of McTominay, although some people think Fred had a decent game, but decent against Lask. Decent game against Lask. You're supposed to have a 9 out of 10 performance against an Austrian team that doesn't even have a logo on Google. Like, anyways, I digress. This video is about Lingard. I think all those players I just mentioned, including Lingard, are just not good enough for Manchester United. And I honestly think they need to be moved on somehow within the next 2 transfer windows. Now, Pereira probably won't be moved on in terms of a full-on transfer, so he can be sent out on loan. But we've got news today, at the time of me recording this video, that Alexis Sanchez has moved on, so there's hope. Marcus Rojo, I think, will get sold and moved on in the summer, so there's hope there. I don't know what's going to happen with Phil Jones, but those players weren't even playing yesterday, so let's talk about the players that were actually playing yesterday. Fosu-Mensah has been out on loan twice at Manchester United and has already failed both times, and that's why I was immensely disappointed with him yesterday, because this is a player who's trying to make a name for himself and a career for himself and establish a position in that Manchester United team, or a route rather, to be a part of that Manchester United team at first team level. Yet he can't put in a good shift against Lask, so there's question marks around him. Brandon Williams, I think, is still a decent player, and actually Brandon Williams actually played well when he got a chance last year, as well as the beginning stages of this year in the league when Luke Shaw wasn't playing. So I've got no problems with Brandon Williams. He's young. He's very, very young. So he'll be very, very inconsistent. And you cannot judge a young player based on one season. At least I don't believe. But guys like Pereira, guys like Lingard, guys like Fred, guys like McTominay, come on, mate. You should be playing better than that. All I'll say about McTominay is I don't know what's going on with him, but he was injured for about 3 or 4 months. So he hasn't really played. He was injured for about 3 or 4 months last year. And then he came and he played and he was in good form and he got injured again. Or I think it was lockdown. Whatever the case is with McTominay, I think he's suffered multiple injuries this season, and because of the lockdown thing, he didn't really play much after lockdown. Remember, he only played in the game against Spurs and in the game against Norwich. So I forgive McTominay, whatever. He hasn't played, he's a bit rusty, cool. And I still think he's a decent player. Fred, we know that Fred takes long to get into a run of form. We know that he needs a run of games now. I mean, we've seen it. When Mourinho bought him in his debut season, he was atrocious and awful, and Mourinho never gave him the run of games that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did. Under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he was atrocious for the first few games, but then he started to build rhythm, he started to build momentum, he started to build flow, his passes were flowing. He isn't the most creative player in the final third, but he definitely can be useful in transition for Manchester United. Yeah, but it's disappointing to see Fred not play well against a team like Lask. Like, if you're not going to play well against Lask, when is the manager supposed to trust you? Because, mind you, Fred would not have played as much as he did last year if Pogba didn't get injured. There's no ways Fred was getting selected if Pogba, McTominay, and Matic were fit. So, and then you add Bruno to the mix, obviously, now that we have Bruno, Pogba, and Matic. How do you, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, say, okay, in a game against West Ham, in a game against Crystal Palace, in a game against a decent mid-table Premier League side, I'm going to rest my star-studded talent and I'm going to play someone off the bench. How do you then say, okay, Fred, you haven't played in a month? Here you go. Go on then. There's your opportunity. Get us 3 points. It's just unrealistic. There's a massive drop off at Manchester United, and I haven't even gone to Pereira and Lingard specifically yet. But the drop off is greater than a fall from the top of Mount Everest, fam. Like it's ridiculous. Regards to Jesse Lingard and Andres Pereira specifically, Andres Pereira I think needs to be moved out on loan to perhaps, I don't even know if he's championship material, but he needs to go somewhere and play some football in a side where he can develop himself and there's no consequences. I don't even know what position Andres Pereira plays in. But with Lingard, I just think there is a decent player in Jesse Lingard, and there is potential for, not potential for him to become a better player or grow exponentially, because I think he's past that. But there is potential for him to go into a decent mid-table Premier League side and actually find a route to the first team. Do I think he's going to find his way back to form at Manchester United? Probably not. Do I think when he was in that messy Lingard spell, he was actually a decent midfielder? No, I think this is what people don't realize. Good players have great seasons all the time. Look at Sanchez, 2 years in a row, PFA Player of the Year. Where is he now? Like there's a difference between world class players and good players who have world class seasons. World class players have world class seasons on a consistent basis, if not at least a season that would be considered excellent in relation to where they're playing and the standards. Example, Paul Pogba. He may not have had world class seasons, but you can definitely see that even when Paul Pogba's not at his best, he's levels above everybody else at Manchester United, except the Brunos and except everyone else in our starting 11. But like, I think Lingard for me was never a player who was levels above anything we had. I think he was just in the right system, and he was playing in a system that exploited, or that brought out the best in him rather. And it was just a coincidence. I mean, it was 3 months. Lingard has been crap for nearly 24 months now. So if you remove that 3 months, really Lingard has been crap for about 18 of those months. Like 18 months of the last 2 years, Lingard has actually been awful. Like really bad. And he's got no excuses. He's been given chance after chance after chance after chance after chance after chance. At least with Pereira, he's a young player. With Lingard, you can't even say he's a young player. He's a player who's played in a World Cup semi-final. He's won a Europa League. He's won an FA Cup. He's won a Carabao Cup. He's won pretty much every trophy except the Premier League and the Champions League at his level. And he's competed in a World Cup semi-final. But for some reason, over the last 18 months, he hasn't been able to transform. He hasn't been able to evolve as a player and go back to the Jesse Messi that was playing in that 3 months. So I just think he's done. Yeah, to wrap up the video, I just want to say that I understand that Jesse Lingard was going through some mental issues. I get that. And off the field, I really do like Jesse Lingard. I think he's a great person. And I think the fact that he's open and honest about his mental health issues, as well as the fact that he's acknowledged that he's poor in a heartfelt Instagram post. He's acknowledged how poor he's been over the last few months. I like that. I like that. I like to see a player actually say, you know what? I'm putting my hand up. I haven't been good enough, and I'm going to work as hard as I possibly can to get back to that form. But do I want him to do it at Manchester United after watching him for the last 18 months try to get back to form? Like, if he's going to work harder than he's ever worked, what has he been doing for the last 18 months? What has he been doing for his entire career? Shouldn't he have been working hard the whole time anyways? So look, I just think with Jesse Lingard, he's got to move on for his sake. I don't see a route for him back into the first team at Manchester United. So I think if he really wants to work hard, if he really, really wants to become the footballer he once was, if he really wants to play for England, why would you sit at the bench at Old Trafford just to pledge allegiance to your crest, and be a passion merchant? Why? Like, just move on to another team, get football, get first team football, and just prove everyone wrong. Just prove everyone wrong that way. But anyways, that has been the TripleM Show, and thanks for watching.